Guys, welcome back to T-Rod Whiskey. Tonight I want to talk to you about 7 bottom shelf bangers that I think you should be looking for. Let's roll that intro. Guys, so let's just be real for a second. Inflation's the highest it's been 30, 40 years, right? Everybody's trying to stretch their dollar just a little bit more, right? It is still possible to get good, exceptional, fantastic whiskey at a bargain price. Are you going to be able to find all the allocated items at a reasonable price? No, it's never going to happen. You might get lucky on a grocery store shelf, or maybe one of your store owners hooks you up, but a lot of times you're going to have to open your wallet a bit. But I've got a list of 7 bottles that I think you guys should be hunting, that you should be looking for, that are around that $35 price point. Let's say $35 or under, okay? I do have a mystery report here for the end of the video if you want to stick around to find out what that is. But I put together a list of 7 bourbons, rye, 7 whiskeys that I think you should be on the lookout for. It's not going to be the same stuff you guys have always seen, because me personally, I get tired of seeing the same lists that have, oh yeah, buy Wild Turkey 101, buy 1792 Small Batch, buy Buffalo Trace, buy Eagle Rare at MSRP. Like, yeah, we know about all of those, right? And we're never going to find some of them at MSRP. So I wanted to give you guys a list of some bottles that may be a little bit less known, maybe a little bit outside of your typical wheelhouse, but I think are still really, really good. Because honestly, that's what I'm about, right? My whiskey experience is an all-encompassing, cumulative journey, right? I want different stuff. I don't want to drink the same shit every time I go to the store. I just don't. I want something new. I want something different. So, started off, we have Stonehammer Single Barrel, okay? Now, this is a single barrel bourbon, 100 proof. I want to say that this is a Kroger label or a Kroger brand. I'm not positive. So, it says it's distilled by the Clear Springs Distilling Company in Louisville, Kentucky. Past that, I don't know anything about it other than it's really good. I know the Bourbon Junkies, Dan and Sean, have both talked about this on the pod. They really seem to like it. I love it as well. If I could find another bottle of this for the price, I want to say I paid $29.99 for this. It's really, really good. You can tell the bottle's pretty well down there, about halfway gone, and it's really not been around very often. So if you guys see this, definitely grab the old Stonehammer. I mean, why not, right? For grocery store available whiskey, it's hard to beat, if not near impossible. The next one is a rye. This is Bodega Cat Straight Rye. Now, I tried this one based off of a recommendation from ADHD Whiskey himself, Matt Porter, and he talked about how good this was. It is a 95 proof. It says aged a minimum of 2 years. It's MGP rye. This is actually a celebrity whiskey. There's a couple of comedians that decided that they wanted to start their own whiskey label. They wanted to start putting out some whiskey that was halfway decent and selling it to the general public. And I'm fairly certain this comes in right at $34.99, and it's really good. Yes, is it younger distillate? Yeah. Is it MGP rye? Also, yeah. What does MGP do really well? Pretty much everything. But the rye especially, a 95.5 MGP rye is tough to beat, especially for $35. It's a cool label. It's a cool story. It's fun to have on your bar. It's something else to talk about, and it's just different. So if you guys see this one, definitely try it. Give it a go. And if you don't see it and you want to try it, Bourbon Outfitters does carry this. I've never run into an experience with Bourbon Outfitters not having this one. So why not pick it up? Or you can keep drinking the same old stuff. It's totally up to you. But me personally, when I want something different, I go looking. And I mean, this is as good as it gets in terms of price point and what you're getting for your money, I think. Next up, from Buffalo Trace. There had to be one on the list, right? Benchmark Full Proof. This is known as the Stag Junior Junior in some circles. I don't know if I would go that far with it, but it's 125 proof Buffalo Trace. It's probably on the younger side. It is a little bit proofier. I know some people are going to leave in the comments, the single barrel's better, or the top floor is better, the bonded might be better. That might be so. But for $24.99, I'm getting a 125 proof Buffalo Trace product. Yeah, it says that the whiskey unveils hints of chocolate, brown sugar, and spice. That is 100% accurate. That's what this is. It is going to be a little bit younger if you have a refined palate. It is not going to be a Stag Junior. It isn't. Is it a replacement for a Stag Junior? Nope, not that either. But after a few drinks, you might not care quite as much as you did. Okay, the next one, this is actually a Michigan product. This is Flying Ace Bourbon. It's only 84 proof. It's not super hot. It's aged for a minimum of 3 years. This one is actually an Amori's Market store pick, single barrel, but it's all about being American made. It's got a cool little plane on the logo. It comes in the Elmer T. Lee bottle. It says distilled in Indiana and bottled by Flying Ace Spirits, Holland, Michigan. So again, an MGP bourbon. But it's really good. Especially for the proof, for the price. The single barrel was $32.99, guys. The store pick is less than $35. What do you really have to lose? For $35, that's what you're going to spend on McDonald's for you and your significant other, or you and one of your buddies when you go out to McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. And if you're fat like me, you probably spend a little bit more than that. So, guys, give it a go. What do you have to lose, right? For that money, nothing. Okay? The last bourbon we have, and this shouldn't be a surprise to you guys if you've been hanging around the channel long enough, okay? This is the American Fifth Small Batch Bourbon. Now, this one comes in right at $35, at least in my market. You guys should know that I'm a very, very big American Fifth fan. You can look at the top row behind me. I love their bourbons. I like their American single malts. They got a cask strength wheat whiskey, which is the yellow label back there. There's a batch 100. I think darn near everything that is coming out of American Fifth is fantastic. It is a very small distillery in Lansing, Michigan that I just happen to really like supporting, and I think you should too. It is a 4-grain, 90-proof bourbon. It is distilled right there in-house. None of their stuff is sourced. It is aged in smaller barrels, but it's not 15-gallon barrels anymore like it was a few years ago. They've stepped up to, I believe, their 30-gallon or 32-gallon barrels, and they're working their way up. It is a journey of progress, but a 4-grain for less than $40? Tough to beat, guys. It's all local Michigan-sourced grains. They have a new master distiller there. Excited to see what they're doing with it. But for $35, this is really, really good. It's chocolatey, marshmallowy, graham cracker. It's almost s'mores-esque on the front. And in the back, it's got a little bit more of that chocolate, some caramels. A little bit of that youth kind of comes forward because I think this one's only 5 years old. It's very oaky, right in the mid palate, but not overpoweringly so. You're not sucking on a popsicle stick. I just think it's really good. This one's getting down there. I've got 3 backups over here that are even older because their stock is just getting older as time goes on. I know I'm paying these guys a visit in a couple of weeks, and I plan on stocking up while I'm there. Now, these last two, not bourbons. Okay, before you close out the video, please keep an open mind, okay? Give me like 2 minutes to plead my case, and then you guys can call me an idiot or whatever you want, okay? So these are actually both Canadian whiskeys. The first one, though, is another celebrity whiskey, and this is Mercer and Prince. For those of you who know, this is ASAP Rocky's whiskey brand, okay? So this is Canadian whiskey coming in at 80 proof, but it is aged with Japanese Mizunara oak, which gives it a very, very unique flavor profile. Now, normally Mizunara oak is very expensive. It's costly. It's very rare. You're gonna have to definitely spend a few clams to get your hands on anything finished with Mizunara oak. Just today I was at Total Wine. They have a Dewar's 21-year finished in Mizunara casks, and it's $160, right? This is $28.99. And one of the cool things about this is you got 2 of these little plastic caps on the end that double as your cups, okay? Oh, this one's still taped on. So you can kind of have your whiskey on the go. It's like a little travel decanter, but it's surprisingly good. This one's about halfway gone, okay? I have a backup of this. I liked this enough to buy a backup of it, an 80 proof Canadian whiskey. And I am very comfortable with my higher proof bourbons, but this one is just good, and it's different, and it's available, and it's cheap. Guys, give it a look. Give it a try. What do you have to lose? I know a lot of people write off Canadian whiskey saying, oh, it's mostly grain spirits, or it's mostly water and it's cheap. Guys, that's not necessarily so these days. It's really not. And if you do a little bit of homework, you'll find out that Canadian whiskey ain't all water, okay? Like, yeah, maybe they use some lower proof base whiskey, but they're not allowed to just dilute it down with grain neutral spirits like a lot of people might believe, okay? And then the last one, This is the Wayne Gretzky number 9 maple cask. So you may not have ever heard about number 99, but unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know who Wayne Gretzky is. Whether you watched hockey or you've seen D2, the Mighty Ducks, he has like a 5-second cameo in that. This is his whiskey brand. I have a bottle of his double oaked, which is also good, but this is an 80 proof Canadian whiskey that is finished in maple syrup casks. And again, it's not super watery. It actually coats very well. The viscosity is surprisingly impressive for 80 proof, but it's like pancake syrup and happiness in a bottle, okay? Now, it's not going to change your life, right? Because obviously it's 80 proof, but it's really good. It's definitely a dessert whiskey, and I think it's something worth giving a try. I live within a reasonable distance, let's call it, of the Canadian border. So when I do on occasion get over to Canada, I stop at the LCBOs and I look and see what they have. And this was sitting on the shelf. There was an iced wine cask. There was a red cask. I think it was masala cask finish. I'm not really sure what that is. I haven't looked into it a ton. But maple syrup casks, sign me up. Because, I mean, honestly, for like the $30 that this costs, what do you have to lose? Right now, maple syrup finishes are extremely expensive here in the States because everybody wants to put a higher proof bourbon in it, and there's age statements and whatnot. This is really good, and I would encourage you to give it a try. So that is 7 whiskeys that I think you should be trying off of the bottom shelf. You can get all 7 of these for like $200 if you wanted to buy all of them. Maybe a little bit more because they're on average like 30-ish bucks, but around $200, $250 for 7 bottles, and we've got pretty much everything represented here. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, first, I would like to applaud your patience, but please remember to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave me a comment, and if you stayed this long, my mystery pour, there was a little bit of a hint here. This is an Evernorth bourbon. This is the Evernorth Spirit Walker 2. So technically it's a Burreye, but it's a Burreye that is finished in, let's see, I believe it is honey and amburana. Yeah, finished in a honey barrel, ex-bourbon barrels with an amburana wood stave. So they put amburana wood in like a sock and stuck it into an ex-honey barrel that they put their bourbon into. And this is one of my favorite bottles down here in the Speakeasy. I do have a backup of batch 2 because I liked it so much. There was a limit of 2. I got the limit. But the reason I chose this one is because tomorrow I am heading to Evernorth. I got the fiance on board. We're going to be traveling to the distillery for the release of the Arctic Fox. Very excited about that. Hopefully I'll be posting a review soon. But otherwise, that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy your weekend. Go Lions. I hope they kick the crap out of Green Bay. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.